Very pleased that to be joined here at SB Nation by the one and only, the dashing, the debonair Asher. I normally make a joke when I introduce sports people and say something like he's going to appear in the next Avengers movie or something like that. In your case, as someone who's actually on screen, something like that is within the realm of possibility. But it is Asher Grodman from CBS's Ghosts, big Jacksonville Jaguars fan, which is what brought us together. Asher, thanks for taking the time to join us.
Thank you so much. I don't think I have the abs or the biceps for an Avengers movie, so I think it is still equally a long shot with anyone else you may be having on.
You never know. Just you never say never. I want to be honest with you. I love Ghosts, but like a lot of people, everyone has a gateway to different shows and whatnot. And I got. I'm a big Survivor fan. And it was during Survivor that I was first exposed. My wife was like, "We need to check this out," et cetera, et cetera. She loves Trevor, so everything kind of worked out really well that way. But I'm like CBS, Survivor, Ghosts, like it's all just like in the same part of my brain.
So we had, I'm assuming you're referring to like a long run of like Survivor ads that we shot as the Ghost Cast, which is a great like cross promo idea. And I think that was entirely, so one of our writers, John Blickstead, who's also a football fan, who's a Bills fan, unfortunately.
Tough day.
Yeah, I know. Well, it was tougher the week before.
Right. That's a good point.
But he's a big Survivor fan, and Rebecca Wasaki, who plays Hetty, is also a huge Survivor fan. And so I might have been Rebecca who first was like, "Oh, we should be doing this." Mm-hmm. And then somehow John got wind of it, and so they were all in. So yeah, that was a completely organic thing. You'd think that was like coming from on high, but it was truly just Survivor fans in the midst of the Ghost world that were like, "We're going to make this happen."
I think that those types of things should happen all the time. Makes me think of, I'm a CBS guy through and through, but Grey's Anatomy, Private Practice, when they would have their kind of crossover thing on ABC. So yeah, I mean, technically on the subject of Avengers, you are in the universe of Survivor. You know what I mean? Like you could float to and from. I don't know if you want to talk about Ghosts first. I don't know if you want to talk about Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm excited to get into either one, but it's up to you. You're wearing a Jaguars hat.
I'm almost always wearing a Jaguars hat. There's a million of them. I'm good either way. It depends if you want to start with. I'm mostly healed from the playoff loss.
So I told you before we started recording, I cover the Dallas Cowboys primarily. So I'm permanently healed because I'm permanently scarred. You know what I'm saying? Like I am a ghost. You know what I mean? Like you can't hurt me anymore. The Cowboys have never won in Duval County. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I was not aware of that, and I was at that game in 2022, that amazing game. And Rose McIver, who plays Sam on the show, came down for that game too, and started the game like, this is a kind of new thing. And by the end, all of us were losing our minds. That was an incredible game. Sorry.
Good for you guys. No, really happy. You all got to have that experience.
That was by the way, when we made the Jaguars schedule release video about the NFL being scripted thing, my favorite joke in the whole thing was the joke based on that game, which I think took us like a day in the edit to get the timing of that joke just right.
It's funny because that game has become sort of like the poster for Dak Prescott getting national memed, right? Like, I'm not here to talk about the Cowboys, but that pick six was in no way Dak Prescott's fault, right? Like, that's so like, but that point gets lost in the scrum, right? In the void, in the whatever. And so anytime that happens to someone else, we love to point out, oh, well, when it happened in Jacksonville, you weren't as quick to give Dak Prescott the grace. So I'm curious, what's that for you? What's that scar for you where you're like, man, we got grilled for this, but nobody else seems to get any kind of flack for it whatsoever. Today, you mentioned obviously some Buffalo Bills fandom. They're having a tough day. I've seen like 14 TikToks about how Josh Allen is nurtured by the media and not held to the same standards as, say, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I've seen that. So all right. So what is the scar? What is the national media scar for Jaguar? I mean, for Jacksonville, it is always going to be the scars of the relocation conversation, the off-field thing, of course, which I don't think was ever fair. And it builds on to the small market team thing that I love our head coach for seizing upon that this season. But all of the kind of like, well, you don't belong here. There shouldn't be a team in Jacksonville. You guys got lucky, and all of that for Duval Nation is the thorn in our side that makes us the whole like Duval versus all
Right.
that. Yeah.
So I'm a Spurs fan. I know that London's a sensitive topic for you, I imagine. Not a Tottenham fan, a San Antonio Spurs fan. And so I get the relocation conversation just being like supremely annoying.
Sure.
I do think that I would hope collectively past that as a football society. Like it's been too long, like it's been a long time that the Jaguars have existed. Like this feels like beneath low hanging fruit. Like it's back in the ground at this point in time. You know what I mean?
I think it is. I think, and that is so much a testament to Shad Khan, who's an owner, and the investment that he has made into the city of Jacksonville, this incredible stadium that I don't know if you've seen the plans for this thing, but
it's a spaceship.
It is a spaceship. It looks like it's out of an Avengers movie. So what he has done for that city, and the truth is, those trips to London have done a lot for. I mean, it's wild to go. I was out there with the team for when they did 2 against the Bills and against the Falcons, which I guess was 2024, 2023. It was the strike year, so 2023.
Right.
And to just be walking around London and seeing Jaguars jerseys is insane. So what it's done for the Jaguars brand is great, but the long-term success of the Jaguars in Jacksonville, I think, is one of Shad's greatest achievements.
So I promise I'm going somewhere with this. I'm an Arizona State alum, and okay. I feel, I don't know how much you watch college football. If you're very busy, I don't know if it's just the NFL that you got going on. ASU appeared in the Peach Bowl last year as a part of the college football playoff, lost that game, had a bit of a down year this year. That's kind of set them up to really build. And my cope take, because as football fans who do a lot of coping, is that having a down year in 2024 was actually better, because if they'd improved upon things, then maybe they would have gotten poached. Maybe they wouldn't have had the time to fully grow and fully blossom. If you hit things way too fast, then you get plucked, and maybe Kenny Dillingham would have left for Michigan or who knows what. And so I think the Jaguars are in a similar spot. It's unfortunate to have lost, obviously, in the wild card round, but you're talking about year one of Liam Cohen. And so I think that you have to develop scars. You have to know what's at stake in order to treat the future as seriously as you have to. Does this make sense? And is this your cope?
Well, I'll say 2 things. One is when you said poached was the word. Is that right?
In college football, I was worried about Kenny Dillingham, the ASU head coach, getting poached to be taken away somewhere. Something like that.
NFL, keep your hands off of our coaching staff.
Yeah,
I know you're all desperate right now. I know you're firing people left and right. Just chill out and leave us alone, because we have a great staff. Grant Udinski is a genius. I want him to stay right where he is. Anthony Campanelli is amazing. So back off, NFL. But the other thing that I'll say, and we can talk about that. But there was something else about. Oh God, what were you
getting poached, getting ahead of things too quickly? Like I would offer. Maybe
this is what I was going to say was, look, there are scars that I have as a Jaguars fan. I'm still not over. I was texting with Fred Taylor the other day, and I'm still not over 1999 in the AFC Championship against the Titans. I know he's not. So you have these wounds that stay with you. I'm not over Dennis Northcutt dropping the ball against the Patriots in 2007. I think that was. But weirdly, I am processing the loss against Buffalo much quicker than I have in the past, because I think for the first time in a very long time, I believe deeply in the leadership that the Jaguars have. I think Liam Cohen, sometimes you meet people who just have a light on, and he's one of them. And Tony Baselli is the same way. James Gladstone, there's a curiosity. There's no ego to that. There's ego if you cross our team, but it's not like I need to dominate. And this is what a lot of leadership is it's like faux, kind of like trying to throw your weight around. There's a joy, there's a curiosity, there is an emphasis on teaching. So I have never been more confident in the future of this team than I am right now. And so I see this as the beginning of something, which I think is what you're getting at, where like there's a new dawn.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I love that expression about someone who has a light on. I'm definitely going to steal that and I won't attribute you whatsoever.
Yeah, thank you very much.
But yeah, I get it, and I think you're a healthier human being. Like to make it an analogy here, and so like where you've been infected or sick in the past, like your body is healthier, you're in better shape, so you can overcome, you can withstand different ailments much more quickly, and you have more confidence in being able to bounce back. I love that. This is kind of a macro question because you know a lot. Yeah, well, so you just name dropped Fred Taylor like it was no big deal, and so I'm not trying to contend or compete here, Asher. But and the people I've interviewed in the past, they generally don't know as much. Like I'm talking famous people like you, celebrities, actors, A-listers like you, and they generally we're talking about these are people who have like the ESPN alerts set on their phone at best, right? To keep up. What is your day-to-day, weekly, whatever it is, like practice of being a Jaguars fan? This is a weird question, but like, are you listening to podcasts? Do you follow like Jaguar fan Instagram accounts? Like, what is your kind of amalgamation of how you live life as a Jaguars fan?
I think it's all of the above. I think the Jaguars media guys can probably clock when I'm at the gym or when I'm out for a run, because that's when I'm listening to whatever they're putting out, and then they get my notes or my complaints, questions, whatever. Patrick Cavanaugh, who runs the Jags media department, is fantastic. So yeah, it's I consume this stuff at the gym, on my way to work. Yeah, it's a pretty steady and heavy dose. But I do. I'm a big podcast guy. I don't I don't really have time to sit down and watch TV. And the truth is that the TV coverage of the NFL I find repetitive, and I find that they don't know what's happening in Jacksonville anyway. So I've gotten very used to finding sources that are closer to the source. So yeah.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Custom Fred tailored, some would say, to your own sort of walk in life and whatnot, and it makes sense. You want the local scene.
And I read the local Jacksonville paper. Like I've been plugged in. I remember my dad getting me a subscription to the Florida Times Union when I was like 14 years old.
Dude, but that's
like, he was like, "This is what you want."
Those stories.
He was a Lions fan. He is a Lions fan. And we lived in New Jersey, so he was always, Detroit Free Press and all that. So I learned from an out-of-state fan how to do it.
That's I was gonna say that the Lions were the team you didn't want to be. You didn't want to peak too early and then have everyone get poached away the way they did, and now they're kind of So the slower rise is better to be sustainable at the top. But that is super cool and super awesome that's how you consume things. I know you kind of dissed the production of television. Ghosts is an awesome TV show. I'm just here to throw my head in the ring for it. This is a weird question, but this is how I look at things. Is it cooler that Ghosts is on CBS? Given that the Jaguars play primarily on CBS, like if you were a Cowboys fan, the majority of their games are on Fox. Obviously there's different games in national television and whatnot, Sunday Night Football on NBC. But so that makes you you're CBS through and through. Like they definitely got to put you out in Fiji with Jeff Probst.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I guess it is cooler. It's the CBS is a big company, and sports and scripted TV are not as connected as they may be on other networks or other platforms. But yeah, it's definitely a cool thing. It's a cool thing. I think especially making the schedule release video
right
a few years ago, that opened us up some doors for me over at CBS and Paramount, because it was a world they were plugged into because they were watching what was happening with the NFL. So yeah, I think it's opened some doors, and then it creates a situation where you're meeting people, being on CBS mornings and Nate Burleson, like there's a synergy to that certainly. I ran into Ian Eagle at the airport a few weeks back after the Jags Colts game. So yeah, there's I guess I hesitate to say a CBS community, but I think there is a kind of synergy within the company.
That was my point. It would make sense if that's how when I look at things, I'm like, if I lived that way, if I lived that life, this is how I would feel. And that's exactly how I would feel, if that makes sense. Yeah. This is my last Jaguars question. Then I want to talk Ghosts.
I could do this all day, baby.
So this isn't really a question as much as it is a story for me to tell you. I was very impressed with Trevor Lawrence. I interviewed him after his rookie year, and it was coming off the Urban Meyer stuff and whatever. No big deal. I'm not here to talk about that. But it was right after. It's still in the early days of everyone navigating Zoom and things like that, and like on a macro scale. And I did not realize that my camera was off.
Is this the famous? Was that you guys?
No, at least I don't think so. I'd be very flattered if it was. So maybe I'm going to underwhelm now, but I did not realize that my camera was off when I was interviewing him. He was so cool, so kind. And I realized, because I had the speaker or the gallery view going, and I didn't quite realize that my camera was off. And so I realized like 8-9 minutes into this 15-minute interview that it was off, and I turned it on. And I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. And he was like, oh, man, like, I just thought you didn't want to show your face or something. My point is he was so chill and so stoic and so cool about it that was the moment I knew, like, this guy's a little bit different than everyone else, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he's I like Trevor a lot. I got to see him briefly before the playoff game. And he's just a good guy.
Yeah.
You know? He's again, I kind of go back to that, like the ego,
the light on. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. There's just something very, this is not small market team, but there is a vibe. And I think Trevor sets this tone a lot in Jacksonville, that like, there's a small town vibe to that place. Like the door is open. And it's reflected throughout the organization. I mean, that schedule release wouldn't have happened without that mentality. Like if I was a New York Giants fan,
exactly,
it never would have happened. So Trevor, he's, I think he sets the tone, and I think, God, what he has achieved this season with Liam Cohen, there's something really, he's an even-keeled guy, but when Trevor gets, he hits that next gear where he gets a little angry, kind of, or at least that's what it feels like from the outside. And what has been fun this last season is to watch Trevor be consistently, angry is the wrong word, but consistently aggressive. And to really, because he is in addition to being, the personality stuff, which is great. And he's a guy you just want to spend time with. He is so physically gifted. And I think anyone who's watched him play, in the back of your head, you've always been like, this guy should be, we should be playing this guy almost like he's Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
He's so much bigger and stronger, and more gifted than these other guys at the position. So seeing him run the ball more, and seeing his physical attributes kind of take over in a game has been so exciting. So all that to say, I'm very happy with the guy who's under center. And I will say this, Liam Cohen's offense gives Trevor more authorship over what's happening. And so even at the beginning of the season where, pre-snap penalties and all this is there, it's a complicated offense.
Right.
The things that you were hearing was, Trevor has control and he's seeing things the way that he's supposed to be seeing them. Even when like we hadn't fully like hit stride yet, the pieces were all in place. And going at like that Bills game, for all of the penalties that Jags had early in the season, 2 penalties for like 10 yards against the Bills.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
this is all the maturation of Trevor, like having his hands on the wheel.
I think the aggression that you detailed is what I meant collectively for the Jaguars as a whole. Because Trevor has, I remember reading that Tony Dungy's son, one of his children, he has a condition where he doesn't feel pain. And I read this in his book, and you, like, that sounds really cool. And so like when you're reading, you're like, oh man, but then he's like, well, here's the thing, like pain is a really important thing, for like life and figuring things out. And so you have, like, pain is a teaching tool. And in Trevor's case, he's experienced that pain. He's developed those scars that we talked about. And so like that leads him to a different type of aggression, because you know what's at stake. You know what there is to lose. You've burned your hand on the proverbial stove. And I do think that we're seeing him kind of grow the team around him, obviously in parallel with Liam Cohen, which is why the Jaguars are a really exciting team moving forward. So
this guy had to overcome Urban Meyer. He had to overcome, I think he's had the most drops in his career. Over his career span, he has had the most drops in the NFL. And then bringing in Jacoby Myers was just like, chef's kiss. What like the perfect signing
for my dynasty team too. Yeah.
Oh, great, amazing. Yeah. I'm happy for you. And keep him. Travis Hunter wasn't even there for most of the season. So I do not think that this team is going to, just speaking of aggression, I don't think this team is I don't think James Gladstone, Tony Baselli, and Liam Cohen are going to be like, oh, hey, we're in a good spot. I think they're going to be as aggressive as they can possibly be to make this thing better. And you look at the way Houston's playing with those edge rushers, like I have a feeling they're going to fortify this offensive line even more. Winning a line of scrimmage is important to these guys. I think we're going to see this team grow and grow and grow. I think these guys are hungry.
I didn't mention so far Jordan Lewis, but he was beloved as a member of the Cowboys. And so it's really cool to see him have the success that he did in Jacksonville, become the leader that he did, obviously, and for Travis on that side of the ball. I know I said my last Jaguars question, but you are a super deep sports fan, obviously. Yeah. Did you hate watch the Texans? You brought them up on Sunday. Like,
I despise them. I want them. I have such a deep hatred for the Texans, Titans, and Colts. That I want them to suffer slowly and painfully. So, like the fact that did he end up throwing 5 or 4 interceptions?
It was 5, and he had the 5 fumbles last week against Pittsburgh. Obviously, they won that game, but and to your point, like, you know, it is a matter of like, wow, that sucks. You're going to have the whole offseason for everyone to just doubt the franchise quarterback and should they give him a contract extension and all these different things. Like, it's got to be, I know you lost and that's unfortunate, but like, I don't know anyone whose outlook is better in the AFC South than the Jacksonville Jaguars right now.
I have to listen. I hate Houston. I give them credit that I really thought that this was a year where the Jaguars could have really made a run. Just because I didn't think they had anything that was a glaring weakness, and I think everyone else had something that seemed really shaky. But even I had to admit, like, the Houston defense is so fantastic, and they're terrifying. But yes, I feel like I feel great about where the Jaguars are sitting right now. I also appreciated, for all my hatred of them, I appreciated that Houston was right behind them, because it basically meant that every week for the last, I don't know exactly how much, I got maybe 8 weeks, felt like a playoff game.
Yeah.
Jaguars. So I appreciated the competition in that sense, and I appreciated being one step ahead.
No, I totally get that, but it is also nice when they lose. You know, like, I'm going to go cover the Super Bowl in a couple of weeks, and I'm so happy that the Eagles aren't there, the Niners won't be there. You know what I mean? Like, it just makes being a Cowboys fan all the more enjoyable. Okay, so at this moment in time, because someone could discover this at a certain point, Ghost has 82 episodes on record. Congratulations. Wow. Did you not know that?
I knew I think I knew that we would get to, I think we're going to hit the 90s when we're done shooting this season. So but it's still, like, that's mind-boggling.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say back in the day, but like once upon a time, we have a lot of younger high school kids and whatnot who watch. Like, when a sitcom would hit 100 episodes, it was like, this is the gold standard of television. When you would hit 100 episodes, again, casting only positive thoughts and positive vibes. It certainly, actually, no, you're coming back for the 6th season.
We're coming back for a 6th season. I mean, look, anything could happen, and who knows?
Right.
They have picked this up which is amazing that CBS and Lionsgate and all these guys are supporting us the way that they have and believe in the show. So we should get there, you know.
So what's the ride, the journey, everything been like to be on a show that should conceivably, God willing, hit 100 episodes? It has, I don't want to speak for you, but it has to be among the things you're most proud of in life.
Oh yeah, it is. Well, first of all, I had been doing this for like 18 years before Ghost came along, and most of them were, I mean, truly scraping by and like hitting my head against a brick wall trying to get anything. So this thing, and it's wild. I really think that Ghost is probably the most successful thing I've ever even auditioned for. So the fact that this is the one I got so outrageously lucky and won the lottery on this thing, and won the lottery with the people I work with, this cast and this crew. And I will say this just to, you're right. We live in a world where streaming shows kind of grab the zeitgeist, right?
Right.
And they are shot like they are movies, but we're not. There's 22 episodes of this thing, whereas a streaming show may have 8 to 10.
Right.
And we're shooting as we're writing. So when you have a concept like this, which for me, and the BBC guys who came up with the concept for this show just struck gold. But you have a concept that on any given week, you could be going back to ancient Egypt. Well, that's not a set that you built in July and it's on shooting. That is a set that they built on a Tuesday and now we're shooting it on Thursday. So the craftsmanship that goes into a show like this is just off the charts. And I have to just continue, all of us do this, continually shout out our crew in Montreal. They're brilliant. And I don't think there is something in TV right now that is happening that is as complex and as, like, even that set that they built, that house, if you watch closely the background, they're constantly switching out things and bringing new nuance to that house. It is a character in the show. So there's some really wonderful artistry that happens in addition to this great concept and the wonderful people I work with. I'm outrageously lucky.
I love that. And as a fan of sitcom television, as someone who grew up child of the 90s, like this just kind of like scratches my itch, like hits my heart, strikes to my core. I agree with you. And I know you weren't knocking streaming television. But I read this massive.
No, not at all.
No. Oh, well, Asher Grodman hated on Stranger Things and the way they shot their show.
Oh, I was all over Stranger Things.
But I read this article about my favorite show on television, Ghosts, but I really enjoy The Pit.
Yeah, my God.
The article was about how The Pit is helping along with you all kind of bring back the way this works. Different setup and structure and whatnot, kind of a 24 vibe, obviously, the way that show works. But it isn't like this is 8 individual IMAX movies that you have to like absorb in a different way. So I really do appreciate that. I'm also curious, anytime I speak to someone like you, what is something that is exactly the way you thought it would be when you dreamed of having a job like this, and something that is completely and totally nowhere near what you thought it would be, if those two questions make sense?
God, those are great questions.
Thank you. Do my job well.
You're very good. You're very talented. Okay, what did I think this was going to be? Oh man, wow.
It could be as simplistic as there's free food on set. Like something like that. Like something that, like, for someone who doesn't walk that life, like that you were like, man, when I make it there, it's going to be like this, and it is. And then the 180-degree inverse of that.
I don't think I thought that. I guess I thought if we had gotten here that there would be a because of the complexity of the concept. I still feel like every episode, to some degree, is a challenge, is coming into new territory, and I don't know that I ever thought that would be the case.
82, something like that. Yeah.
There's still episodes that come down the pipeline, and I'm like, oh shit, wow, this is a new thing. And so I guess I am still taken aback, but not taken aback, but I'm still, there's the ability to be surprised. Like we just shot an episode, I can't give you details on it, but trying to calibrate what the emotional journey for my character was over the course of that episode, because we are at on one end of the spectrum. We are a show that deals with death and mortality and existential questions, and have this concept that can be this like satirical send up of American history and American society. And we are a sitcom on CBS, so we're dealing with these things that we can make you cry, and Trevor can have these moments of dealing with what is the life he left behind, and what did he never get to experience, and that kind of mourning those things. And I'm not wearing pants, and there's right. Yeah. So calibrating how you hit the let's call it like the Clue-esque vibe of our show, the romp, the farce, and the emotional depth of that thing. The fact that here we are 82 episodes in, and there's still a challenge to that. I don't know that I saw that coming, but I'm great.
That's a great answer. The next answer is going to suck compared to this. I'm just being honest. It was really deep and thoughtful. So, but I mean, again, if it's like there's free sandwiches there, then so be it.
Yeah, the next one is going to be. I'm not surprised that this cast is still here, because I think they're incredible, and even with. I'm truly in awe of I didn't come from a comedic background. I had never done a comedy before this. I joke that I did the play Amadeus, which I guess is a comedy if you don't count Act 2. But I had never done anything like this before. And I work with I just came from an acting background, but I work with these comedians and these improvisers who have such a great, brilliant sense of timing and tone, And so I'm not surprised that these guys, that we're all still here, because I think everyone I work with, that group of 10 is invaluable.
That's a really sweet and kind answer. So good for you, being all mopey and whatnot. Okay, two last ones, Asher. Number one, are you, because we live in a time where everything is documented, do you think about, I don't know, like a joke you make off camera, a joke you're making with the crew or something like that, like this is going to be in the documentary about ghosts?
Oh my God, like, documentary.
Does that make sense? Like the look back in 10 years after the show is done, hopefully a long time in the future, like everything that's being captured will ultimately be made available to you, if that makes sense as well.
Yeah, I think that's a terrifying prospect. So I think there are a lot of jokes that probably should stay where we are. I think the other thing, you remember early on where like season 1 is very vivid in my mind. I think all of us, the as we were building, because it is a CBS sitcom, but it is a world building show.
Right.
And so as we were really building that world season 1, so many of those episodes remain very vivid. But we all also have this kind of amnesia at this point that, like season 1, we were talking about, I wonder who of us will do the rewatch podcast.
Oh, what a great joke. That's kind of what I was asking. That's what,
and we were like, oh, that would be so fun. We should, and all the tidbits. And now I think we're like, if we did a rewatch podcast, 95% of us rewatching this would be like, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
That scene? I did a scene with it. I feel like there is this amnesia. And maybe it's just you're in the same location. So I think we have also, in addition to all these memories we've made, we've also forgotten more than we could possibly comprehend at this point.
That is awesome. You took that way farther than I thought you possibly could, which is really impressive. Okay, last one, and this merges the two worlds. What is a piece of Jaguars news that you got on set? And you can be as specific as you can be with this. Like, it was this episode, I was shooting this scene, and I learned that Liam Cohen was going to be hired, or Urban Meyer was, getting fired, or again, whatever it was. Like, and maybe that doesn't stick out to you. Maybe you have a different kind of way, but I imagine you're working all the time. There had to be something that you returned to your phone for a moment and you went, holy crap, this is happening, or whatever the case may be.
I mean, I was really excited when Trent Baalke got fired.
I would see, if I was you, I would die for Liam Cohen. Like I would, like, because of that. Like,
he should have a statue.
Yeah, like
just for that.
Okay, so do you remember that day, like what you would do if it was on set? Like maybe it was, maybe you were at the gym or something when this particular whatever hypothetical news dropped.
I don't remember when that was. I think my most vivid memories of like news on or Jaguars mixing with being on set is the shit I would get coming out on Monday morning when they lost, or the thrill, mostly from Devin Chandler Long, who played at Oregon, who plays was a defensive end at Oregon and plays Thor. So there's a lot of shit talking coming from him. But yeah, I don't remember a piece of Jaguars news that happened on set. I'm sure the second I get off this call, a flood of stuff is going to hit me. But I do. I'll give you a fun little tidbit, though. This is a fun little fact, which I just think is so cool. I also take a lot of shit from Richie Moriarty, who plays Pete, who's a Patriots fan, and I was at the 2017 AFC Championship, 2018, but the 2017 season against the Patriots, where Myles Jack wasn't down and the Jaguars won, but the refs blew it. And I know since then the refs have officially, like, I guess there was a phone call or a letter that came to Tom Coughlin at the time apologizing, saying we messed that up. But before that game, you may remember one of the greatest pieces of sports content played, which was the John Malkovich.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Game, and that whole thing is John Malkovich screaming at a director who had, for his lack of vision about how this piece should run, and that director was played by Richie Moriarty.
Amazing.
Who is Pete on Go. And so there does feel like there is a nice little kismet in that. And even when we did do the schedule release,
there was a part of me, I was trying to figure out if there was a way to loop Richie in on it as a callback to that moment. But the scheduled release was 8.5 minutes, which is probably twice as long as most are. So some things didn't make it. So there's a nice little ghost NFL Jaguars over.
Yeah, the crossover. I love that. I'll be straight up.
And Richie, as he said to me a few weeks ago, was he said I still don't fully believe that the Jaguars are a team in the NFL. So Jaguars Nation, please go and destroy Richie Moriarty.
I'll be straight up with you, Ash, and say I was rooting against the Jaguars in that title game because the Eagles had won the NFC, and I, as a Cowboys fan, at the time the Eagles did not have a Super Bowl win of any kind, and my estimation was that the Patriots stood a better chance of beating the Eagles, and so so it looked for a while like I was in trouble, and I was like, oh no, the Jaguars are going to win, and all due respect, the Eagles are going to get to play Blake Bortles in the Super Bowl, and I
would argue, rightfully or wrongly, that the Jaguars were built better to beat the Eagles.
I'm mature enough to see that now. I was blind in that moment. Okay, I lied, Asher. This is the last one for you. One of my favorite tools that I utilize in my coverage of the NFL, this isn't an ad, but it's Pro Football Reference. And they have a great thing that you can utilize to pull up any player who's ever worn a specific jersey number for any NFL team. So I would like you to pick a number, and I'm going to quiz you to see if you can tell me every Jaguar that's ever worn it. But the number is up to you.
Ooh, oh my God. Okay. So the question is how hard do I make this for myself?
Yeah, I wanted to go with 82 because of the 82 episodes, but it was just Jimmy Smith, who is a former Cowboy, so it was kind of a nice, common denominator. But
28. I think I'm pretty sure Fred's the only one who's worn that. I'll go. How hard? And I'm sure 8 is.
Yeah, I mean, you could do like 5. You know what I mean? But so this is going to tell us a lot about you.
Let's go with 11.
Okay.
Because it's going to be one of my favorite guys.
There are 8 players who have worn number 11 in Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm not going to even come close to this, but Parker Washington, obviously.
Okay, that's one.
Jay Fiedler, who meant a lot to me, and the Jaguars just gave me a Jay Fiedler jersey.
That's awesome. And so that's how it's very burned in your mind, obviously. So there's 2.
Was Reggie Williams 11?
He was. So you've got 3 of the 8.
So who else would have been 11? It was never a punter. Give me a hint or something here. Give me like
one is pretty obvious. It was a franchise face of the franchise that you're missing. At that point in time, at least.
Face of a franchise what time are we talking about? What
2000 year? He wore it for 3 years. 2011 was the first.
2011. Oh my God. Yeah. Gabbert. Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't wrong that he was a face of the. It may not have been a good time.
Sure, yeah, that one I blocked out. That. Yeah. Okay. Great.
So we've got 4. Another one was a receiver who came from the Lions and then returned to.
Of course, Marvin Jones.
Okay, so you've got 5, and we're missing another receiver, kind of a low, like a fantasy flyer stash guy that is kind of.
Cecil Shorts wasn't 11, was he?
He was not.
It was not. I love Cecil Shorts.
You're missing 3, and so your clues are: 1 is again a receiver that was only ever played for the Jaguars and missed the 2018 season. So played 14, 15, 16, 17, missed and came back. Okay, so we got 2 more left here. One of them has my name's RJ. He has my initials.
RJ Soward. God Almighty. What?
No, he's a quarterback. His initials. His name isn't RJ, but his initials are R and J. And he's a quarterback. Started his career with the Jaguars literally in 1995.
Rob Johnson, which is how we got Fred Taylor. Thank God for that. Rob Johnson got 3 games in 98, really, or 97, really. Yeah.
We've got one more. Last name is hyphenated. That's your clue here. And he's a Florida guy. Went to UCF.
Hyphenated last.
Yeah, I don't know actually.
No, it couldn't have been a defensive end. It was 11. No,
not at that time. You can be now, like Micah Parsons. We don't like him for a lot of reasons, but like that's one of them for me. So, he played for 2 teams in 2011. So he played for the Jaguars 8, 9, and 10, and then played for both the Jaguars and the St. Louis Rams in 2011. He only had one catch for the Jaguars. in 2011.
Torrey Holt, because that was Torrey Holt wasn't 11, I don't think.
Mm-mm.
2000. It was 2011. He played for the Jaguars. Came from the Rams. Played for the Jaguars in 2011.
He played for the Rams first, and then came back for the Jaguars. But for a single game, I'm sorry, 2 games. But he only had 1 catch in that final stint.
So this is definitely the hardest one.
He did have 3 years before that, though. With the
he was with the Jaguars for 3 years, then went to St. Louis, then came back.
Right.
And what position is this?
He's a wide receiver. And in 2009 and 2010 each, he caught 7 touchdowns. So back-to-back 7 touchdown seasons in 9 and 10, right before Blaine Gabbert got there.
This is that dark time. And
3rd round pick.
Ernest Wilford.
Nope, I'm sorry. He went 7 for 8 though. That's really
what number was Ernest Wilford?
I don't know. I can tell you in a second, but it was Mike Sims Walker.
Oh my God! Of course, Mike Sims Walker. I really liked Mike Sims Walker too. I felt like of course.
Ernest Wilford.
Oh, I'm mad at myself.
Ernest Wilford was number. Goodness gracious, I've lost it here. It says 16, but that's not right. Ernest Wilford. That was really impressive. He was 19 for the Jaguars.
He was 19. Okay. Oh, Mike Sims Walker. I'm so mad at myself for not getting Mike Sims Walker. Jesus.
You got Rob Johnson though. I mean, that's a little bit more impressive. I would argue.
Johnson. So. No, but I should have had Mike Sims Walker.
Hey,
there was a period of time where I was looking at like wide receiver lists, and I was like, Mike Sims Walker should be higher on this list because we were so depleted for wide receivers for so long.
Back-to-back seasons with 7 touchdowns. So, I mean, there's a lot to be proud of. Asher, you're the man. This was awesome. Everybody watch Ghosts. What else? What else can we do? What else can we support? What else links can we go to? Just tell us, plug away. We'll obviously be watching everything, but I mean, there's a
lot of Ghosts right now because we've been shooting for like the last 6 months. I directed a short film that's coming out called Stop to Stop, which is a nice little throwback to 90s rom-coms. So we'll get that out in a little bit. What else is going on? Check out the schedule release if you haven't seen it. It's a really
you got time to plan the new one, petition the Jaguars. You got some time to work on 2026.
We talk about it. We talk about how we, it's always that thing where if you're going to do it again, you want to make sure it's something that's really gonna move the ball forward. And so we've spitballed some ideas, but it's just a very cool just because it obviously fits with everything we're talking about. It's just a very cool thing for an organization to say, hey, we're just going to put funny first.
Yeah.
And everyone was so down. The level of collaboration on that thing was just off the charts, and it was such a joy to make. And it took a lot of courage from the Jaguars to say, hey, we're going to make Urban Meyer jokes and we're going to, let people in. So I was very lucky to be able to write and direct it and be part of it. And I think we made something really fun and special.
I think you did, and I think that's the case for everything you're a part of, including your Jacksonville Jaguars fandom. Asher, thank you for the time. Here's to the next 100. Let's get to 200. You know what I mean? Why not at this point in time? And I will throw your Jaguars hat, in the ring as the host of the Rewatchables podcast. Just for when the time ultimately comes. But thank you so much for the time. This has been incredible.